Let's also tell you that in 2016 alone, the terrorists killed 422 people in 36 different attacks, including men of the Nigerian military. This year, more than 200 people have already been killed by the insurgents, who have now changed tactics by using suicide bombers. The Global Terrorism Index report has also revealed that Boko Haram has killed more people in Nigeria's northeast than the Islamic State ever did in Iraq or Syria. More than 2.6 million people have been displaced by the insurgents. Now, to take a look further on this subject, I'm now being joined live from our studios in Abuja by a security consultant and a former British intelligence policeman, Mr. Vince Onyekwelu. Good evening, Mr. Onyekwelu. Now, let's begin with looking at how you would describe the prosecution of the anti-terror war against Boko Haram generally. How would you describe it?
Personally, if I have to describe it, let me make it very simple. If I have to use at a scale of 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, what will I score them? I think I'll be nice enough to give them a 4.5. Obviously, the 4.5 is based on the improved hard work of our gallant soldiers. Obviously, major cities like Abuja, Kano has stopped experiencing issue of terrorist attacks. However, I can't score them more than 4.5. If I want to be very, very nice, I can give them a 5. Why do I give them a 5? Because we have major issues with the death of Nigerians. Innocent souls have been murdered. In the month of July alone, we had about almost 150 innocent Nigerians murdered. And why I can't give them more than a 4.5 or a 5, if I want to be very nice, is based on the fact that the first primary assignment or objective of the Nigerian army is to secure our territorial borders, to secure us from external aggression. There is a school of thought that believes that most of these terrorists come into Nigeria, carry out the operations, and leave Nigeria. So if the army cannot secure our borders, their primary assignment, and these things are happening, I can't score them more than a 4.5 because they can do more. And now lives are being lost.
And let me ask you this.
That people don't know the names of those people lost. If it was in a better society, we should name of all those people lost. We should know all their names so we can actually put the humanity in those people and kind of give them the right burial they deserve.
Mr. Onyekwelu, I must interject at this point and ask you. The acting president says the military needs to adapt itself to the current challenges by bringing itself to the cutting edge of technological developments. How do you propose they go about doing that? How can that be best achieved?
Oh, yeah, very correct. I think the acting president was spot on in choosing his words very carefully. He talked about the issue of using cutting-edge technology. And very importantly, he also talked the issue of winning heart and mind. Let me take the issue of winning heart and mind first of all. Obviously, being a former British police officer, we are one of the best when it comes to winning heart and mind, because don't forget, our first training is not to carry arms. It's not to carry lethal weapons. We have the expertise not to work with firearms initially and still maintain the peace and order. So you cannot ask the Nigerian army that are almost used to carrying lethal weapons to win heart and mind because they're not used to it. You cannot give what you don't have. If you don't speak Japanese language, there's nothing that will make you to speak Japanese language. So when it comes to the issue of using technology, obviously our borders need more than manual surveillance to manage. We have these vast borders across Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, very porous borders in very tough terrains to manage. So I think they need to use very precise technology, which are all in Nigeria. I'm talking about the fact of Nigeria, because before you know it, they're going to run off overseas to go and bring the same kind of cameras we had in Abuja some time ago that has now turned to bullets that are not doing no work. So we should use tech that are right here in Nigeria. If they're not sure where to get it, I can help them for free service. But we can use cutting-edge technology to secure our porous border. But in that technology, Mr. Acting President, let's have a practical working national identity system. So Mr. A can be Mr. A. We cannot confuse Mr. A for Mr. B. Without a national ID system, without a secured border, all this is going to just go off the air. Nothing will be achieved. First of all,
thank you. I have to interrupt you there, Mr. Onyekwelu, and say thank you very much for joining us on the news at 10. Mr. Onyekwelu, of course, is a security expert.